People have been going to Asia for decades,
Oh, yeah.
and just as they've been going to Mexico for decades. None of these things are new. And actually, the more pumping that is done online from these outfits, the worse these places seem to get.
Well, they're not the cheapest anymore, and then they're not the best place anymore when they become so expensive that a lot of people can't really live there.
Higher financial thresholds, more collectivist schemes, mandatory schemes, and higher prices. But yet you keep getting told that they're still
cheap,
the most wonderful place in the world, and more crime and more, you know, smog, and it's just, I don't know. Think for yourself, do it yourself. It's not a dirty word. That's what this channel is about. So doing everyday things like trying to figure out which one of these is cream. No clue yet. I'll let you know when I figure it out. Usually I can tell the chemical carrageenan, even translated into Georgian, is still similar, so I can tell I don't want it. Good luck reading all of that. I think this is important for France, and it's like $8. Yeah, I miss Ecuador days. Do things yourself. I know that's a dirty word. Do it yourself is a dirty word. You see this, it's become a it's 3 letters, do it yourself, but it's become a 4-letter word in the financial mainstream circles, because they won't even, you'll be reading these early retire blogs, and they won't even call it that anymore. They got a new phrase for it. I forget right now what it is. If you know what it is, put it in the comments. But they're calling it something else because they don't want to use this so-called perception of a dirty word. Do it yourself. So we spotted some Italian cheese here, but we can't figure out which one of these it is. Obviously. When I was younger and I was wanting to get ahead, when I was like 19 or 20, and I was reading all these books on how to get ahead, one of the ideas that was perpetuated was that the reason to be wealthy and to have money, and one of them was that once you get wealthy, and this is one of those imagine things. Well, you know, things are like this now, but imagine the improved version once you're wealthy and rich, which I'm not denigrating or minimizing. Everybody wants to be prosperous, and it's normal to want to be prosperous. But one of the things was that you'll be able to hire people to do things for you. In other words, you can buy services. You no longer have to do it yourself. That's what I'm saying. And I have to admit, it sounded really appealing. Oh, I won't have to fix my own car because I'll have enough money, I'll just take it to the mechanic. But what I see in the financial circles is people getting ripped off left and right. I mean, there's a story of a lady that, yes, they're high income people, and 6 figures, both husband and wife, each making 6 figures. And because they have no time, they're so busy making the 6 figures, they take their cars to the mechanic. And I'm not saying, before you switch, don't turn this off yet, listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying to become your own mechanic. I'm talking about a simple thing like just changing out a battery cable. This is just a cable. You just unscrew it over here, and you unscrew it over here, and you put it back. That's it. And this lady paid $400 for a $12 battery cable on Amazon.com or any auto parts store that you could easily do it yourself. I would much rather spend, I've gone full circle and figured out that I'd much rather be a piffy, financially independent since my 20s, and get out there on a nice spring day and change my own cable.
And you always have.
While I'm listening to the birds sing and enjoying the weather, than to be stuck in some high-earning activity where I have no freedom and I'm working 12 hours a day and taking the car to a mechanic that's ripping me off and taking $400 out of my hard-earned money just to do a simple thing like change out the cable.
So we want to bring do-it-yourself back.
Sorry to be so long, but these things are in my head, and it's like, oh my gosh, I cannot. Stone-baked bread right in the store. That's the oven right there. Oh yeah, I was looking for that. You know, it's like when you're young and you're told these ideas, you don't have the depth of experience to understand that, wait a minute, doing it yourself is not really that bad of an idea. It depends on what we're talking about. Now, I'm not going to perform my own brain surgery, and I'm not going to, you know, redo a whole engine or anything. But these little things like change out a battery and a cable, it's ridiculous. How did we get started on this?
Do it yourself.
Oh, think for yourself, right? Think for yourself, do it yourself. It's not a dirty word. And you can come to this channel for help. So, are you serious? The Golden Arches in Eastern Europe? Yeah, that's where we're at. But take a look at the view. This is actually, in this part of the world, a pretty high class place to come to, and the locals just love it. They just, the place is packed.
That's why we're sitting outside. The place is so busy, and all the seats are taken.
It's got one of the best locations, and it's got the most seating. And it's got good seating, you know, like outside seating, and this is just the outside wing. There's several wings inside, and there's 2 floors. Pretty upscale for a McDonald's.
Yeah, but there's a nicer one in this city. It's
yeah.
Over there in Liberty Square. Liberty Square.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's even more upscale than Cuenca's McDonald's, I think. It could be the location right here in the square. No, the build-out's nice. Well, anyhow. Do you think this could pass for Rome? I mean, if you didn't know.
Maybe.
I mean, obviously, there's no Italian words. But besides that.
Well, there's Georgian on the...
I mean, it's old Europe. I mean, you know, it's old Europe. It's got a lot of similarities.
Georgian on these vans.
You know, you've got similarities like cobblestone streets. You know, you've got high density.
Oh, Rome has way more Vespas and motorcycles. Way more.
Oh, okay.
That's the difference.
Okay, good observation. It is colder here, though. It's winter. It's January. It's probably about, I don't know, 39, 40 degrees out. It's pleasant. It's sunny. If you're bundled up, and
I think it's louder in Rome. I think they honk their horns more.
Yeah, you don't hear that too much, do you?
No.
And yeah, it's a little too cold to be on a scooter or a motorcycle, although there are some.
There's the tourist bus.
The rumbling escalator. This is quite unique. It's like a, what do you call those theme parks? Disneyland ride or something, because it's so long.
It's 4 minutes long.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever been on an escalator this long? It's just almost as long as a ride, you know? Disneyland, Disney World, whatever. Yeah, I can't help but think about all the gringos that go to like places like Cuenca, Ecuador, and stuff, and you know how they feel when they land somewhere where they don't speak the language, they don't read the language. And so we came here to Eastern Europe just to do that experiment, so we could put ourselves in your shoes. No, but
just joking.
But yeah, you know, I mean, sure, I learned a little Spanish when I got there, but I didn't know any when I got there. I mean, it took me a year or two. But yeah, we're just doing it all over again, just walking around the streets here in a place where you can't even read the language, let alone speak it, trying to find our way to this and that, and you know, ascertaining the safety aspects, you know, before you do anything and things like that.
And do-it-yourselfers.
Yeah, we're off the tourist trail. Obviously, we're not on the tourist trail. Big chain. So I don't want to have the camera open all the time. I mean, we know we could just get in a taxi, but we also know that we'll 90% chance get taken advantage of. Although I know the taxi rates
and I know how far it is. Even knowing that, there's still a chance of getting taken advantage of just because they know you don't maybe know the layout of the city or whatever. So there's been some horror stories with foreigners getting taken advantage of, so to the tune of ridiculous. It's not just the money, it's just taking people somewhere totally different than where they wanted to go and telling them, okay, you're here, and they weren't really there. So just little things like that you know, it's not just the money, it's just the safety aspect, it's the getting ripped off aspect, it's just the whole picture, you know. So I usually like to take my taxis when they're metered, or for the very, very last leg of a trip that I just absolutely have already done everything. Maybe I've walked some of it, I've took a metro on most of it, and that kind of thing. And then the very shortest spot, I might take a taxi. And
Fixing all these
then
buildings.
and then I know what the minimum rates are and that kind of thing. So, what's that, hon?
You're fixing all the buildings right here. Look at they're all
Oh, yeah.
getting
Yeah, they're
remodeled. They look really nice.
nicely painted and everything. Yeah, it's really old here, so they need that.
This one's getting worked on.
Yeah, a lot of work
Yeah, look at how huge
inside
that building
and
is.
outside.
That building is a block big.
The huge buildings, really, really old world.
But they sure do look nice when they get fixed up.
They always look nice when they get fixed up, but what did it cost? So we're just gonna have a cone here real quick, just one little cone right here.
Oh yeah. There's a walk down there.